This is a real important step for DFO and us to get together to understand one another and to make them aware of the things that happened to us in the past, so they'll understand why we're so protective of the things that we say is ours, because they come from a totally different background.
My experience today is of connection. The one thing that we do within fisheries when we're working with DFO at the table when we're talking about actual fisheries management is it's a very robotic experience, because you're going through the motions of trying to, one, work with a government agency, and one, trying to ensure that the base fundamental Constitution Act is withheld and that First Nations get their fisheries access without being compromised or discriminated against.
Last year's workshop, and this is a run-on from last year's, trying to get the two parties to work together is the ulterior motive, is to try and get them to work together.
When we come together in this circle, we're allowed to be emotional, we're allowed to be vulnerable, and that makes going through the harder things at the table just a bit easier, and we need to do this more.
The workshop is really well done. I think the component of it that makes it really worthwhile and really sort of certainly stick with me, is the fact that it's held at the big house here. There's a certain aura, presence in here that really certainly affects me. And I think the workshop that we had today wouldn't work if it had been held at like a government office or in a gym or some other place. It had to be in this type of facility.
I find I have more compassion for the government agents that show vulnerability, and it makes me want to be kinder.
The first time I ever seen the hard-nosed DFO people actually show some emotion, and 4 of them were crying. And at that time, I couldn't handle Kent Spencer. Now we're friends. We shake hands and hug every time we see each other. And his words were, after we got out the door here, was that, Art, I get it now. So that meant so much to me.
I think it's great to increase the understanding of people that work with First Nations more about your culture. I think that that's really important, because a lot of us get put into different roles at work where we may not be familiar entirely with the people that we're working with, or working for, and we often, I think, have a disconnect that way. So these kinds of opportunities help us as employees, I think, do a better job to work with First Nations and help understand some of the challenges and problems that you guys deal with in a better way. It helps us understand some of that in a more meaningful way.
I guess it's a step in the direction of working together and getting ideas and collaborating with DFO on, I guess, opinions of the systems that we have as First Nations, as managing our resources, our fish, our crab, whatever it may be, and the system that they currently function under on, I guess, fishing for profit and catering to I guess the bigger population and the demand for product within our territories.
I'm hoping that the people that are here with us, DFO, is able to take something out of this where they have a better understanding on who we are as First Nations people, and have a better understanding on how passionate our elders are when they talk, and how much they want to protect all the resources in the water and on the land.
The last workshop that we had, again, was it was excellent. It gave me a different perspective on First Nations. I thought I had it before. I understood how things were before. Last year when we had this workshop, things just resonated with me that were really life-changing in my world. I really got the First Nations effect. Going through the village scenario really hit home with me and really gave me a perspective that I hadn't had before. And because of that, it gave me better insight into First Nations culture, which was, like I said, life-changing for me, and gave me the ability now to sort of really understand where First Nations are coming from.
So